Okay, so got a couple things to talk about. These wildfires that are raging across Canada, and now there's a bunch of states in the U.S. that have registered hazardous air quality. So let's take a look there, see what's going on. I have seen very, very dystopic looking images, just frightening clouds of smoke. Holy moly. My BF in upstate New York is getting fucked up by the ash. Yeah, it's super hot out. It's like disgustingly hot out. The air is so smoky. You got to watch out for the explosive diarrhea produce. Whew. Hot girl summer, am I right? You know? Okay, let's see. Health risk of wildfires.
To the smoke last night for like 5 minutes on my bike.
Between now and Saturday, more than 115 million people may be exposed to dangerous smoke and unhealthy air quality levels. That's because wildfire smoke is spreading and triggering health advisories in at least 17 states from the Midwest to the Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, Toronto's air quality was the worst in the world.
Thousands have evacuated northern Minnesota.
WC final is in New York, so it seems like it's going to be an issue there. Oh, shit. That's right. Yeah, these players going, wow. In America, you have to import your own food or risk your players getting explosive diarrhea and also import your own air.
In other states, it's led to flight delays, the closure of pools and beaches, and the cancellation of many other outdoor
There's an update
activities.
on the poop saga, I know.
Stephanie Sy has our report.
We're going to look at that.
People in Duluth, Minnesota woke up to some of the world's worst air quality this morning. Same for the residents of Detroit and Chicago.
I felt pretty sick just from...
In Minneapolis, Caitlin Smith was struggling just to breathe.
This is just crazy. I've never experienced something like this in my life before.
Madness.
I was just exposed to the smoke
N95s,
last night
y'all.
for like 5 minutes on my bike ride home from work, and I felt really sick.
It's becoming an all too familiar
Techno,
summer
thank you for the
sight
5
in North
gifteds.
America. Orange-tinted, smoke-filled skies, like the one over Toronto's famous CN
Soul
Tower.
bar thing with the
As
19
soon as I
months.
woke up in the morning, I went outside on my terrace, and you could definitely smell the smoke in the air, and it's very hazy out.
It's the result of hundreds of wildfires burning in.
Yeah, apparently there's like 800 something wildfires, and a lot of them are burning just completely out of control.
Canada and the northern U.S. A train crew near Armstrong, Ontario, capturing the intensity of the flames.
Oh yeah, look over there.
Mike Flanagan is a professor of wildland fire at Thompson Rivers University in British Columbia.
Most of the fires were started by lightning. There were some human-caused fires, but the majority are lightning-caused.
In northern Minnesota, the fires and smoke have forced the evacuation of the Boundary Waters canoe area.
A lot of the fire issues in Ontario linked to the government over the years choosing to limit the growth of harder to burn tree types like aspen, instead prioritizing trees like pines. Yeah. Fire season is in areas that experience fire season, like in Canada and in the US and places like California. It's starting earlier and it's lasting longer. They are also harder to contain. So that's the other thing. It's like, yes, wildfires have been a thing, but they are getting worse. They are lasting longer. They're starting earlier, and they are being, there's this term called zombie fires, is when they smolder throughout the winter. And that is one way that climate change worsens wildfire threats. And it is multiplying the likelihood of more extreme fires.
To the fire danger is the oppressive heat enveloping a large section of the country.
It has been hot, dry, and windy in Minnesota and northwestern Ontario. Temperatures exceeded 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Ontario and Minnesota.
A lot of northern Ontario also had government cuts. The radio systems used to communicate, so a lot of Indigenous communities have lack of comms, but also general access. Yeah, it's almost like we had people who understood how to care for the land, but we decimated their communities and cultures. I wonder who that could be. I wonder who's also like first to be affected by this.
It was windy. You get lightning strike, fire starts, it grows rapidly. Those temperatures are record-breaking, if not record-smashing, for many parts of Ontario and Minnesota. And it's part of that heat dome that affected much of western and central United States in the last few days.
A weather system in Canada is steering smoke into the U.S., across the Great Lakes and into the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic region. The cluster of darker dots show where fine smoke particles in the air were measured at dangerous.
It's basically all of these conditions that are worsening and then converging. So drought, prolonged drought, record high temperatures, heat, snowpack being historically low in a lot of these western states. And it basically creates the perfect conditions, like this perfect storm of conditions to have absolute raging wildfires.
Levels today.
What is typically happening with a high pressure system, and these heat domes are high pressure systems, is the smoke gets injected high into the atmosphere. The winds carry it, but this rich air sinks, warms, and dry, and as it sinks, it takes the smoke with it.
Pretty Armageddon-like out here. It is that I think I'm more affected by the way it
How long have the fires been going? I think this started a couple days ago.
looks than the way it smells.
At least
That
this
smoke is more than unsightly. It's unhealthy.
the intensity of it,
health
from what I saw.
standpoint, there is no such thing as good smoke.
Luke Montrose is an environmental toxicologist at Colorado State University.
We know it gets in.
You see the current fire map? Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, damn.
into the systemic circulation and likely has impacts on other organs. And we're starting to see.
To put this in perspective, this is the map of Ontario showing where the wildfires are. I'm having trouble breathing in Toronto. At least a 14-hour car drive over 1,359 kilometers. Ontario is bigger than Egypt, Japan, France, Germany, etc. This is absolutely catastrophic. Yeah, I mean, that is apocalyptic looking. The smog was so bad, couldn't see 200 feet in front of me. I'm in Rhode Island. Yeah, my friends in New York were sending me photos and were like, last night, the sky was just pure white at 7:30. Rather than a nice sunset, it was just white.
Some instances where researchers are seeing effects on brain health, mental health, and even the reproductive system.
And Montrose says when the air is as bad as it is in the upper Midwest, there's no sure way to escape it.
This is catastrophic smoke. There are very few spaces that you can go to get away from that kind of smoke. It is going to infiltrate those spaces. Even people who have great immune systems and are really healthy will start to have respiratory effects from these levels of smoke, particularly if it lasts an entire.
This is a really bad time for Will to be in Michigan. Michigan being the state that had the biggest outbreak of cyclosporiasis, the explosive diarrhea parasite. He was sending me pictures of how smoky the outside was. Like, this man went to Michigan to spend time with family and also just kind of have a break, right? Be in nature, clear his brain, clear his mind. And he was sending me photos. I was like, maybe I should just come back.
Day.
He picked the worst
Experts
time
say
to go.
Children, the elderly, and people with chronic illnesses are the most vulnerable. Symptoms may include sore throats, excessive phlegm, coughing, headaches, and brain fog.
Yes, DIY an air purifier. This is what I did last year when we had the fires very close by where our old place was, and there was a lot of smoke in our apartment, and I could not find an air filter because they were all being bought up since the fires were affecting a lot of people. So yes, you can DIY an air filter. You will want to get a box fan, a regular box fan. You can get it from a hardware store. Keep the cardboard box that the fan comes in because you're going to need it later on. And then you will want to get 4 standard industrial pleated air filters. Gives you the dimensions here. It's very easy. I did it. I think I actually end up making 2 of them. So yeah, this is a good link.
Staying indoors, turning on air conditioners and air filters, and wearing N95 masks can help mitigate the risks. Forecasters are predicting that the smoke conditions will likely ease by Saturday, but with fire weather getting more intense, this won't be the last of such events.
In Canada and the United States, we're getting warmer because of human-caused climate change, and the increases in area burn, fire severity, are largely, not solely, due to human-caused climate change. I can't be any clearer than that.
As for the fires currently,
this is what needs to be said on every single news report, or it is not just irresponsible, it is morally corrupt to not talk about the effects of climate change on worsening conditions, on these conditions then compounding, creating a perfect storm of conditions.
Burning, experts say they may continue through autumn and maybe even until...
Yeah, if y'all didn't see this. Hold on a second. Why do I hear something? Oh, is it this? Yes. I was like, I hear something very faint. Okay, y'all got to look at this. No. Where's, oh my God.
Gus here. This is getting a little scary. Yeah. Holy shit.
Crazy. This is from inside a train as it becomes surrounded by raging wildfire flames near Armstrong, Ontario. Everyone was okay. They survived on the inside of the train, but outside is not the same story. Also, just like how calm these Canadians are in this train, though, as this is like a nightmare scenario.
Okay, y'all need to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now. You guys gotta go backwards. Go.
I will say that seems very Canadian to be like, okay, can y'all hurry up because there are flames everywhere, and then you see what it is. You're like, oh my God!
Hello, Jody, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you there. I'm telling them you were notching.
They're so calm.
Yeah, this has got to move fucking quick here.
It's also railroad behavior.
Holy crap. Oh, that's all right. This kind of burnt off, so we'll be okay now.
Oh, hey there, bud. We gotta go right
there.
now. If it doesn't inconvenience you, we really need to go right now.
You guys got a light now or what?
Don't get me started. This was a freight train that the National Rail Company is still making people work, by the way, through these wildfires.
Did you guys get that light?
Yeah, it's giving like when someone dies on the Amazon work floor and they just cover the body while they wait for EMTs to come remove the body, and people have to just work around their dead coworker.
Oh yeah, they're clipping. Whew!
Oh my God.
That's a meat and a half, eh?
Eh? Holy shit. Okay, here's Teamsters. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters joins Teamsters Canada and the Teamsters Canada Rail Conference in calling on Canadian National Railway to immediately stop operating trains through active wildfire zones and put the safety of Teamsters Canada rail members first. Fucking absurd that they are still having them operate the trains through these apocalyptic flames. They're like, oh yeah, just go through them. Gotta keep going. A recent viral video on social media shows a CN freight train engulfed in flames while traveling through an active wildfire in northern Ontario. The train was operated by Teamsters Canada Rail Conference members whose quick thinking and professionalism ensure that no one was injured. But those workers should never have been put in that position. CN should never be sending train crews into such dangerous conditions. Yeah, they don't care. They don't care. It's like, how much worse could these flames be? Well, doesn't matter because they would keep them going. 1,000% these conductors are getting written up for being on their phones recording. I'm sure. They were waiting for the train to pass. They were literally stuck as these
This could potentially
flames
overtake
are
us
just
here. This has gotten a little
This could potentially overtake us here. And it's like you look outside and it's just orange.
scary.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Okay. Yeah, this is.
Okay, y'all need to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now.
You guys gotta go backwards.
They're in like a metal box in hell.
Hello, Jody, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you there. I'm telling them you were notching up.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Yeah, you better hurry, eh? You better hurry because I think we're about to fucking die.
Who shall I send? And I said, here am I. Send me.
Why do people do this?
Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom
Fucking quote. Yeah. Well, anyway, look how scary that is. They had to go back into the flames to get their last crew member. They crashed into another train. Then there was a safety system that prevented them from driving the train away. They all survived. They all survived miraculously. Yeah, this is... That looks like fire and brimstone. Like, you know what's crazy? For the like the Christians on TikTok who are all about the rapture, this actually looks like the rapture. This actually looks like the portals to hell opening. Instead, they'll pick a random day, and then on that day, like, it's happening. It's like, hello, this is one of those days that you could probably get away with more saying the rapture is coming. It's here. Hell is here. They are escaping in a speedboat. A little tiny mini speedboat. This is an indigenous community, by the way, completely gone. Oh, God. Northwestern Ontario is burning. One First Nation community has reportedly been wiped out. Namaigussisagagun First Nation, also known as Collins, Ontario, has burned to the ground. Because the remote community has no road access, residents were forced to flee by boat and other limited routes. An entire community is gone. I'm sorry, but just the irony of made with AI. Climate change will manifest as a series of disasters viewed through phones with footage that gets closer and closer to where you live until you're the one filming it. Made with AI. Fucking hell. Holy shit. Members of First Nation destroyed by Northwestern Ontario wildfire helped each other escape by boat. Mia Pavola received a call earlier this week from her mother telling her that the entire community of Namaigussisagagun First Nation in Northwestern Ontario needed to evacuate due to a wildfire, but not to panic. So of course I panicked, said the 15-year-old daughter of Chief Helen Pavola, who was in Ottawa at the time. This has 130 registered members, but the number of people living in the community fluctuates. Just over 24 people were in the First Nation when a wildfire quickly approached the area. I've never seen a fire that big. It was angry. It was moving fast. Word quickly spread as the smoke and flames grew closer. Community members went door to door to tell everyone to pack a bag and head to the beach. For Mia, that meant grabbing her 2 chihuahuas and telling her friends to hurry up. It was within a matter of moments when it just went from smoke to open flames just around the corner from us. After boarding a handful of boats stuffed to the brim with people and pets, community members drove across the lake as their entire First Nation burned to the ground behind them. Like, luckily, thank goodness everyone got out safely, but what a devastating experience to be seeing your community burn to the ground as you are escaping with your life. There was a time where it was just silence, where I didn't even know if anybody survived, said Chief Pavola. It's a miracle that my members are alive today. After getting off the boats, it was a race to make it to the 527 highway. That fire was right behind us the whole way. Evacuees are now staying in hotels in Thunder Bay. More than a dozen communities are under mandatory evacuation orders as of Thursday, and the city has run out of room to accommodate more people. They survived it, but now we have nothing. The whole community burned down within less than an hour. God. As more than 175 wildfires burn across Ontario, Pavola is pushing for the provincial and federal governments to step up to support her people who have no home to return to. However, this hasn't been easy. They are still in the process of becoming recognized as an official First Nation. That shouldn't stop them from helping us. They have a duty to help us.
It was one of the most scary things I think I've ever seen. The clouds just got dark and they were moving fast. I get a call from my mom and she says, "Get ready, you need to leave now. Don't panic, whatever you see. Just go to the beach and wait." So of course I panicked a bit. I wet a towel and grabbed my 2 dogs, my 2 little chihuahuas.
I did bring my ex.
And instead of helping, the bitch-ass president went on TV to complain about voter fraud. Oh, yeah. Donald Trump giving his special speech tonight to once again lay out all the voter fraud that happened in 2020, where it's like, you won! You piece of shit! You fucking loser! You loser! Oh, Tanner Karn, I did bring my
Grabbed my 2 dogs, my 2 little chihuahuas.
I did bring my Xbox. We were able to pack that up first.
We waited for
At least you got the Xbox, but I will say, y'all, I have flashbacks to when I was trying to get Will to hurry his ass up, and I was like, we have less than 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes. Priorities, please. Which is why if you live in a fire-prone area, you should have an emergency bag packed ready to go. Where we were, that was an unusual instance. This is when the fires were burning last year in January. And of course, Will was collecting all his Pokemon cards, packed a whole giant suitcase. And yeah. You know what happened, though, is we got gridlocked. That is what I told him would happen. I was like, if we don't leave right now, we are going to be stuck. And we didn't know if what the options were. And so we ended up going on foot, of course. Then Hassan coming in as we are traumatized. And my man's was live streaming. Yeah. Do you have a backpack made now? Yes, we have an emergency backpack for many reasons, not just like earthquakes, namely. But yes, I have all of my important documents in one place, which you should have regardless. It's just good practice to have your emergency docs in a place that you could quickly grab. Yeah, it's a live streaming bag. That's my emergency backpack, is my live streaming backpack.
About 20 minutes. Just within that small amount of time, you could see it getting really close.
Every time I would drive a boat, it'd be nice and calm, so I didn't have to worry. But this time, the waves were really big. It's very scary. The smoke, you could just feel it in my lungs. It was so hot.
I've never seen a fire that big. It was angry. It was moving fast. The wind really did not help. It was coming in our direction. Evacuations like that have never happened. It was always usually, and you got...
You know, obviously our experience was not what this is. This is horrific. But there is this feeling of just complete and total helplessness. If you have not seen, if you're running from the flames, then you just assume like everything is going to be gone. And in this case, like it has all burned down. Like there's so much that's already burned down. But yeah, it's this just heartbreaking, helpless feeling that all you can do is try and save yourself and, you know, obviously pets and family members. But yeah, it's like we've talked about different disasters, from earthquakes to flooding to fires, and there's a like unique, I think, feeling with fires and experiencing your community or your home gone, just like the massive loss of that, and feeling like there's nothing you can do.
Some time to
it's
prepare.
so fast.
Never had to leave in an emergency like that.
Yeah.
It was...
This was captured showing the smoke rising from fires in Thunder Bay, Ontario. At least 183 were burning in Ontario as of Wednesday. Of course, America responded like this. Midwestern Republicans blame Canada, level threats for drifting wildfire smoke. The primary source is more than 800 fires in northwestern Ontario, though American media such as USA Today and Washington Post are reporting that wildfires in Minnesota are also contributing. But Midwestern Republicans are ignoring the latter, preferring to point, they're like, no, our fire's good. Your fire's not good. They are preferring to point threateningly at Canada, issuing warnings and aiming to introduce legislation to hold Canada accountable. They are literally yelling at the clouds. Michigan Congressman John James, whose campaign for state governor has been endorsed by President Donald Trump, wrote on Twitter, "Final warning to Canada. Manage your forests to prevent these fires. American lungs are paying the price for Canadian inaction year after year." God, no wonder people, for many reasons, but no wonder people fucking hate the US. Get your shit together, Canada. I'm sorry, who's saying that? The US? The US military is the biggest carbon polluter on the fucking planet. But it's fine because it makes us big and strong. He continued to lecture Canada, stating sovereignty comes with responsibility, and the responsibility to prevent a foreseeable disaster from crossing into another country's airspace has not been met. Final warning to Canada. Who the fuck do you think you are, John James? Canada, no excuses. Stop the smoke. What? Like it's hard? All my homies hate John James. Ohio Republican Senator Bernie Moreno said he'll be introducing a bill next week to sanction Canada and the responsible Canadian government officials for this atrocity. Okay, then Canada, sanction the U.S. Sanction the U.S. for the U.S.'s complicity, responsibility for climate change. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're selling off our public lands to corporations to let them mine these lands. American corporations that are responsible for some of the worst fucking polluting, covering up all of the consequences to the climate. Climate change makes borders irrelevant. Like, what are we doing here? I know.
This morning, extreme and historic weather conditions putting millions of Americans at risk, with dangerous smoke from Canadian wildfires now blanketing the Midwest and North.
The absolute opposite of this Republican BS. The best.
In the world in Michigan right now? Well, because of Canadian wildfires. So this is a climate change problem. And if you don't believe me, ask yourself if you've ever seen this before in your history. Probably not. Now, all of this comes from Canadian wildfires, the burning of timber in Canada. But why is the timber all of a sudden burning? Well, it's burning because it's too hot and too dry. That creates circumstances for fire to thrive, and then we have to breathe the consequences thousands of miles away. All of that because we've been burning fossil fuels into our lungs for a very long time in the first place. All of that because corporations like Chevron and Exxon have a chokehold on our politics. They've given to both of my opponents, the one I'm gonna beat in the primary, the one I gotta beat in the general. So we've got an opportunity to think different, and we have a responsibility to step up and say,
the U.S. has caused $10 trillion worth of climate damage since 1990.
That so long as these corporations get their way in our politics, it's going to result in days like this where you can't stand outside and even breathe. We got to think so much differently in our politics. It starts with getting money out of politics to put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all.
Like, historically, when you add everything up, the U.S.'s historic pollution is greater than any other nation. Like, we are the worst.
Northeast and central Texas in the midst of a life-threatening flood event. First, in the north, water bombers and helicopters now deploying to fight more than
emissions.
180 wildfires in Canada.
We're encased in flames now.
Flames surrounding this freight train, the crew managing to escape. Smoke from the fires turning the sky orange from Toronto.
Doug Ford was selling Tim Horton cookies on social media and then 5 hours later made a statement. What a piece of shit.
Toronto to Niagara Falls, all the way east to Boston, where the sky looked apocalyptic.
Breathing's a little bit more strained than normal.
I felt a little bit in my lungs, like a little burn.
In the upper Midwest, this bridge in Michigan nearly invisible. Smoke also spreading from fires burning in Minnesota's Superior National Forest.
Is that Beaver Island? Close enough.
Unofficial warns some fires there could burn for months.
Odds are these fires will be here until it snows. So there will be some fire on the ground in some form or fashion, along with smoke, until it snows.
This map showing the spread of the smoke. Air quality alerts now issued.
Will truly picked the worst time to go to Beaver Island, Michigan, to have a little escape, a little getaway. My man's is not escaping.
Across more than a dozen states. Breathing that smoke is a risk for sensitive groups.
They might experience more cough, tightness in the chest. They might experience more wheezing, difficulty breathing.
Coupled with the high temperatures from the heat wave, officials are warning people to limit time outdoors. In central Texas right now, a far different extreme. Half a year's worth of rain falling in a matter of days, trapping people in homes and cars.
Already, there have been more than 75 people who have been rescued. The expected rainfall during this rainstorm is expected to be more than 30 inches. More rain than what occurred during the flood last year.
This woman rescued from the roof of her vehicle, swamped by floodwater.
Here in Boerne, Texas, the rain came down so quickly it took only minutes for this river to overrun its banks.
This man in Uvalde had to be pulled to safety. Multiple storms only adding to the danger.
This is a tornado.
A tornado touching down in San Antonio, crossing a busy...
Do you know what's fucked? Can I just say, it's really fucked when there are places in this country that we know of because of either horrific disasters like flooding, fires, etc., and or school shootings. It's like knowing about places across this country for very violent reasons.
Interstate, sparking power lines, debris flying in the sky. The roof of this apartment building torn off, hitting multiple businesses. Officials warning overnight that the threat was not over, with more rain in the forecast.
Yeah, don't worry about the wildfires because, we're going to get flooding. So water cancels out fire. Duh.
Looks like with a vengeance again, so I would urge caution.
Louisiana and Oklahoma have sent rescue crews to Texas. As for the dangerous air quality, New York is handing out free KN95 masks today at libraries across the city.
Also, West Hollywood flooded today. Parts of West Hollywood because a water main had exploded, I think. Totally flooded. Crazy. Just to throw West Hollywood in there. Okay.
Canadian authorities say over 800 fires are currently burning across the country, many of which are classified as being out of control. The blazes have caused smoggy skies across much of eastern Canada and even into the United States, with health warnings to avoid outdoor activities.
This could potentially overtake us here. This is getting a little scary.
Yeah.
Holy
Fire completely surrounded.
Yeah, also, the El Nino that has been gathering, it is El Nino climate phenomenon linked to record global temps and now locked in place in the Pacific Ocean, could develop into the strongest on record. It is cooking. And it is about to cook, potentially to the degree of being the strongest on of all time. Climatologists are watching the strengthening El Nino with increasing alarm, saying the forecasts from climate models in the coming months are mind-blowing and astounding. Globally, experts have said a strong El Nino could work in tandem with global heating to deliver the hottest year on record either this year or more likely in 2027. It has broken past any of the standard deviations on the graph. Yeah, this on Reddit. LOL, we are complete fucked. Just this horrifying red line. God. What's fun about this is that there's overwhelming data, and that's fun for the whole family. The Bureau has stressed that the strength of an El Nino does not necessarily correlate with the strength of impacts in Australia, but the system generally brings hotter and drier conditions in winter and spring for southern and eastern parts. The climate phenomenon is characterized by warming sea surface temps in the central and eastern tropical Pacific Ocean, with the subsequent atmospheric upset fueling more severe storms in some parts of the world and hot, dry conditions in others. Socialism or barbarism? Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. What is El Nino? So it is when the sea surface temps warm in the central and eastern tropical Pacific Ocean, and then that leads to severe storms depending on where you are in the world, and then very hot, very dry conditions in others. So dumbasses will point to the fact that both these things happen and be like, oh, well, if it's so hot and dry, how rain and water and storms, huh? El Nino for the United States means in the east you see warmer, drier winters, whereas on the west coast you expect more rain. I would also say expect hurricane season to be less active. So a major strength of indicator of the strength is the sea surface temperatures in one area of the equatorial Pacific known as Nino 3.4. There is a realistic chance that the peak anomaly of this event will rank in the top events with a chance it could rank as the highest. It is remarkable and it shows how much heat there is in the ocean. said Dr. Zhi Wangzhua, a senior climatologist at the Bureau. It's perhaps not a surprise given climate change and how oceans have been gathering heat in the last few decades. Dr. Zeke Housefather, a climate scientist at Berkeley Earth, reviewed 14 different seasonal model forecasts of the Nino 3.4 region from around the world. It looks like this year's El Nino is not only very likely to be the strongest event since reliable records began, it may end up being the strongest by a truly mind-blowing margin. That's what Housefather had to say, and that is scary. Temperature is a pendulum. The more energy you add, the more it can swing in both directions as that energy is cycled. Yeah, didn't people learn anything from Day After Tomorrow? Amara's Q, thank you for the 18 months. Carl Dog, thank you for the 8. Mercury, thank you for the 7. Alpha Espresso, thank you for the Prime. Tired of Loaf, thank you for the Tier 1. The models are forecasting something outside the envelope of anything we have ever observed. It's just called weather. It's been happening forever. Professor Sarah Perkins Kirkpatrick, climate scientologist and expert in heat extremes at the Australian National University, said, "Every time I look at it, I have this sense of awe, but deep concern. I think it will be one for the record books." This doesn't mean the impacts here in Australia will be extreme, but we are waiting with bated breath. Dr. Kim Reid, an expert on seasonal predictions and rainfall at the University of Melbourne, said if the climate models were right about the El Nino, it would be astounding to see that amount of heat being released from the ocean into the atmosphere. That's going to have considerable impacts around the world. For Australia, the strength is not super correlated to the impacts we feel. Reid was particularly watching conditions in the Indian Ocean, where some models were predicting cooling in the waters of Australia's northwest in the coming months. When this phenomenon, known as a positive Indian Ocean dipole, had combined with El Nino in the past, Reid said this had led to very dry periods such as the Tinderbox drought, which preceded Australia's Black Summer bushfires in the summer of 2019 to 2020. Dipole. Okay, so not great.
This freight train in rural
Yeah, excuse me. It's Diplo, actually.
Ontario.
It's pronounced Diplo.
Canadian National Rail have since confirmed that all workers were safely
Fuck that
rescued,
guy.
but that many services across the region have been temporarily suspended.
Hello, Jody, can you hear us?
The country's
I
largest
feel like my stream is just, hey, remember, fuck that guy.
city, Toronto, has been smothered in dense smoke, turning the skies an apocalyptic orange. An outdoor fan zone for Wednesday's England versus Argentina match was cancelled after the city recorded the worst air quality in the world.
At first, when you go outside and you're coming from a cold environment, like you can really feel like how heavy it is and how hot.
I'm from Toronto, grew up in Toronto. I don't remember having smoke ever until the last couple of years.
This guy in his hat.
Eyes are burning, my lungs are burning, I've got a splitting headache. It's brutal.
If he's going down, he's going down with his favorite hat.
Passenger departing from an upstate New York airport as the smoke spreads across the border into the United States. But it's hoped conditions will have improved for the World Cup final.
Also, y'all have masks on, please. Please. All like seeing all these reports, talking to people who are experiencing this, and only a few of them have had masks on is not good.
Being held just outside Manhattan this weekend.
Like the outside is the Mexico filter. It's giving Euphoria season 3.
The first big wave of smoke that we've seen will also have cleared out. It'll have gone over into the ocean, transported further downwind. So at this time, I wouldn't necessarily expect there to be major disruptions to the Saturday and Sunday World Cup events.
Don't worry. The trains, the CN Railway will keep running. The World Cup will keep going. Climate be damned.
Health warnings remain in place across New York, as well as a number of other states, including Michigan and Minnesota.
Let's bring in Annabella Bonata here. She's Managing Director of Climate Science at the University of Waterloo in Ontario, Canada. Welcome to the program. I understand Ontario currently has over 130 active fires, and the smoke is now choking cities as far away as Chicago and New York. How unusual is a smoke event of this scale and reach?
It's a bit unusual, especially for Ontario. So each of the last few years has been pretty bad for us when it comes to wildfire intensity, starting with 2023 in particular. And then from there, we've had bad wildfire seasons. None of them have really hit Ontario
It's pretty
as badly as
fucked,
it is happening
Jim.
this year. So this year it's Ontario and Quebec that are leading in that front. So it's pretty bad, and the wildfire smoke that we're experiencing is a little bit unprecedented in the sense that it hasn't come from Ontario before, but we have been experiencing very bad wildfire smoke seasons since 2023, each summer up until this one.
What does smoke exposure at this level do to people, especially over the course of several days?
It can be very harmful. So wildfire smoke is not made up of our usual smoke because it's burned.
So there was a snow drought that raised alarms this past spring, and it was the worst ever seen in some cases, going back 50 to 75 years in places like Colorado and Utah. So in Western states that have then also faced repeated heat waves that are still persisting, and it began back in March. So having a snow drought, a decrease in snowpack, as well as heat waves, like these are all the conditions that are compounding and why we are seeing these apocalyptic flames.
Burning through everything, including properties and cars and fuel. So we're breathing that in, and the particles are so small that they can make it all the way into our bloodstream. It can have major impacts for everybody. As you saw in those interviews, people can feel headache, runny nose, their eyes may itch, their throat may itch, but especially we have, more susceptible populations like young children, babies, pregnant women, the elderly, and anybody with a chronic health condition. So anybody that especially suffers from asthma or heart conditions should be really looked after over the next few days. And currently, as we're in a pretty bad situation right now, make sure to stay indoors in a cool space that has a good filter so that the air is constantly being filtered. And if you don't have that in your home, go to
So like a cotton type mask wouldn't be good enough. Not good enough. You want at minimum an N95, but if that's all you have, then that's what you have. But yeah, ideally at least an
the cool
N95.
center. We have many open in the area in all of the cities around where this is happening. So just find out where those are and take a break from the smoke.
Speaking of fuck that guy, that Ohio Congressman Bernie Moreno, they mentioned before, for trying to sanction Canada. It's so stupidly evil. He also just helped install a MAGA puppet. Literal U.S. citizen as Colombia's next president who pledges to start fracking the Amazon. Not enough to frack up Ohio. The American urge to extract fossil fuels from everywhere. Drill, baby, drill. Frack all the way. Frack you.
It sounds like good advice. Do you see this becoming the new normal, that places hundreds of miles from the...
So is this just how it is now? Is this our new normal?
Fires, having to plan for an emergency like this every summer?
Unfortunately,
continuous exposure to pollution in Delhi has been found that every new child born here will have a decade wiped from their life by default. It's amazing that like when they did that campaign of anti-smoking, right? The anti-smoking campaign, everybody remembers the factoid of one cigarette takes 11 minutes off your life. And then you look at pollution and smoke and these conditions being produced from poisoning of our earth. It's like, hello, being born into this now, just minus 10 years. You're not even, at least with a cigarette, you choose to smoke that. Awesome. Just great. Yeah, it's like 100 companies that are responsible for 80% of the Earth's pollution.
Definitely, to me, we're headed that way. So we've had these kind of summers now since 2023, and parts of our nation have been having these summers since before that. But we've seen a real rise in our wildfire activity over these last few years, and our wildfire smoke has impacted all the way to Europe, like the one in 2023. My expectation is that we'll continue to see this if we don't make any other changes when it comes, obviously, to climate change and reducing our emissions, and how we manage our forests as well. So Canada's doing a lot on that front, but we've got a ways to go. But if we don't do anything to slow down climate change, we're going to continue to have these kind of summers with this type of wildfire smoke.
Now, it's just,
Man, y'all keep linking things that just adds bad on top of bad. Cancer rules rewritten by air pollution discovery. Researchers say they've cracked how air pollution leads to cancer in a discovery that completely transforms our understanding of how tumors arise. So what is going on? What's going on? And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? The researchers have produced evidence of a different idea. The damage is already there in our cells' DNA, picked up as we grow in age, but something needs to pull the trigger that actually makes it cancerous. The discovery came from exploring why non-smokers get lung cancer. The overwhelming majority of young lung cancers are caused by smoking, but still 1 in 10 cases is down to air pollution. Places with higher level of air pollution have more lung cancers not caused by smoking. I mean, that makes sense. Like, that makes sense. That's logical. Breathing in PM 2.5 leads to the release of a chemical alarm, interleukin 1 beta, in the lungs. This causes inflammation and activates cells in the lungs to help repair any damage. But around 1 in every 600,000 cells in the lungs of a 50-year-old already contains potentially cancerous mutations. Crucially, the researchers were able to stop cancers forming in mice exposed to air pollution by using a drug that blocks the alarm signal. The results are a double breakthrough, both for understanding the impact of air pollution and the fundamentals of how we get cancer.
looking at some of the information coming through, and it suggests that this year's fires in Canada have burned much less ground than the huge fires there 3 years ago. You mentioned 2023. Why is the smoke impact so severe if the fire footprint is comparatively smaller?
It's a little bit smaller, but we're actually on track to be very similar to our second, third worst wildfire seasons. And it's in a different part of the country. So the wildfires that we're having are occurring, especially in our boreal region. They're being started by lightning and spreading very quickly. So those fires can get very, very large and consume much more land than fires that happen closer to communities. They're harder to control, and so they become very big. And it's also the type of wildfire. So once they start burning, those plumes go up and they can create their own storms, and that it just kind of keeps going and going, and the smoke is blown south due to different type of like the jet stream or different wind patterns. So even though it's not as much land as 2023, it's still quite a bit that's burned at this point.
Well, I hope Ontario and the rest of Canada sees a little rain where these fires are burning. Now, Annabella Bonata from the...
Brian Johnson went to Telly for a podcast in tour, and he literally left halfway into the tour because of how terrible the air quality was. He literally freaked out and left. Yeah, he's like, oh, God, I just found out I have an autoimmune disease. It's like, I just found out that none of the things that I do are 100% preventing me from getting illnesses.
University of Waterloo in Canada. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if you have not seen the trailer for Abby Martin's new documentary, this is
We're
all
sorry about the
about
rain.
how Earth's greatest enemy is the United States military.
And I'll make this brief.
Known as the Kyoto Protocols, it was the first commitment from industrialized nations to reduce their CO2 emissions.
This is a very good climate change agreement.
But the U.S.
Yeah, that's why it's like the nerve of these Republicans in the United States to be saying, we're gonna sanction Canada. Canada is to blame for all this.
lobbied for its military to get a blanket exemption on the grounds of national security. Thanks to the Pentagon, militarism has
Have
been
I watched this
excluded
yet?
from the
No, but I really
totals
want to.
of all climate pledges and plans ever since. That makes the agreements, in other words, a farce. According to their latest official numbers, the U.S. military is the single largest consumer of fossil fuels on the planet, at 270,000 barrels of oil a day. It would take the average American driver over 40 years to burn as much fuel as a single flight of a Boeing Pegasus.
Given what science is showing us in regards to the climate crisis, how can the military be given a free pass?
Because
The
it's
United
what
States
keeps
is
us
the
safe.
only country which militarily occupies the entire planet, with nearly 1,000 bases spread across almost every continent. Russia has 9, China has 1.
The toxic waste dumps, the Superfund sites. I mean, when you start to get a macro view, this is why it becomes clear the U.S. military is the largest polluter on the planet.
The Arctic is considered the largest unexplored prospective area for fossil fuels on Earth.
The sea ice is changing, and what that's doing is it's uncovering areas of exploration for rare earth minerals.
You cannot say that you care about this earth, that you care about this planet, that you care about the people and the animals and all inhabitants and the land itself and not be 100% an anti-imperialist. You must be.
So for the companies out there,
Open invitation.
The fight
Susan!
against the war machine and the fight to save the planet is the same fight.
System change or climate change?
What do we do about the military? What do we do about destruction of the earth as we know it?
Knowing where we are in the crisis, it's a really good time for each one of us to ask ourselves a question of how do we want to be remembered for how we behaved during this time?
Share!
And let that question define how we're going to live our lives.
Yeah, Greta was just arrested again a few days ago, was protesting weapons transfers. You know, she is so principled, she's so unbelievably admirable. Love her. She's a real one.